I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago.
Hello fellow nerds and crafters. Today I'm going to make this little trinket box. I was going to make it for a set of dice and place this flower that I had from my extras and glue it on top when I'm all done. So I noticed that my mold had a marking in it. It's hard to see in the video, but later on you'll be able to see it on the piece itself, but it will show up on everything I cast in this mold, which is unfortunate, so I might have to do a top coat on these if it's too noticeable. I'm using just Resin's Dark Storm and Light Violet. As well as this alcohol mixative ink from Tim Holtz called Silver. So I'm going to start with the light violet and pour that into the mold. Then I'm going to put a few drops of the silver into the Dark Storm blue and pour that into the mold. I was worried silver might be too heavy and it would just all drop to the bottom, so I didn't want to mix up silver resin itself. Once I have it almost full, I'm just going to give it a squeeze and a couple taps and let the bubbles rise while I pour the lid. I was trying to avoid a giant drop of one specific color on the lid because it kind of comes to a slight peak. So I poured a little bit of the blue and then as quickly as I could went in with the violet and just swapped back and forth. Then I took my tweezers and went around the edge because this has a little bit of a lip, so I needed to make sure that I got out any of the bubbles. And because I said I was worried about the back/front of this piece, I did take this silicone tool and just give it a little bit of a mix so it wasn't one piece sitting there. I had enough resin left over to pour a new flower in the same color as this box so that it went together nicely, a set of mini dice and a chunk dice. So we're going to start off with the flower. It had a little bit of an overpour, but it was still soft at this point, so I was actually able to just pick it off. Like I said, I had extras, so here is the chunk die I was able to make. It came out really, really beautiful. and then the set of minis I was able to make. Also really cute, and they are going to be sold with this dice box because they fit and they look adorable. Onto the dice box itself. I didn't get any bubbles on the underside, and the top part swirled nicely. However, in certain lights you can see that marking I was talking about on the mold. It's pretty hidden in this one because of all the color, but it might be something that I need to fix if I do this in another color. So the box portion came out really cool. I was worried that the pigment had dropped to the bottom / the top of the mold, but it did and it didn't. It was not wet and it did cure, but there were some spots of it. There was no bubbles in this one, and the marbling came out really cool. The sides are very beautiful. And the lid fits great. It is a little thin though and hard to pick up, especially if you don't have nails, which is why I decided that I wanted to put the flower on top. When I had enough resin for the chunk D20, I did consider putting the D20 on top as well to make it a dice box with the dice on top. However, I did decide to go with the flower because that was my original idea, and a dice is really meant to be rolled, and this dice came out really great, so I'm going to sell it separately. I did go over the flower petals tips with just a silver marker to add in more silver. Here's some pictures of the finished box and the finished dice. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and if you would like to purchase anything from my videos, please check out my Etsy store. It's in the description box down below. Thanks for watching. Bye!